Hey everybody, what's going on? I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison video to kind of show you one of the things I've been experimenting with a lot, which is going from image to code. One of the biggest trends in product design today is being able to move a little bit quicker on the prototyping side. And in fact, there's some new paradigms emerging on how designers can be interacting directly with a coding interface. And so the proliferation of these coding assistants definitely is changing the game. And today we're going to explore a few that I think do a really interesting job of essentially showcasing that workflow. And yeah, let's just get into it. And I'm going to show you a few. So, but we'll start with Versal, which I think is one of the most powerful and excellent coding assistants out there. It's pretty full stack too. You can pretty much build a full application with this tool. But yeah, let's get into it. So here's Versal. This is the interface. You can essentially tell it whatever you want. Can you build this? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my Figma file, and I've actually prepared a file here for us to look at. So this is the design. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Cool. So essentially, on the left-hand side, there's a navigation. At the top, there's a search bar. There's on the right column, there's a moderator, active job listings and deals, and then in the middle column there is a feed, and then on the left side there is essentially our topics. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to actually export this as an image first. So let's make this a JPEG. We're just going to export that as an image. We'll pop it onto to our downloads folder there. And then I'm also going to do something else. So I'm going to just actually right click this. I'm going to go copy and paste as, and I'm going to copy link to selection. You can also just do Command L. So I'm going to press that. So that's copied. I'm going to go back to Versal, and we're going to try it two ways. We're going to try it with just giving it an image, and then we're going to try to do it through their import from Figma and see which one does a better job. And I'm not sure if the import from Figma is going to work if we don't pay. So we'll test this out. I have another way around it. So all right, here's our frame. I'm going to just upload that. I'm going to give it the same prompt for everything that we do here. Can you build this? And let's go ahead and upload it and see how it does. All right. So while that is doing its thing, we're going to take a look at Loveable. Loveable is also one of my favorite tools out there. It does a really fantastic job. There's a lot of interesting features being built with this too. We're going to do the same exercise. Attach. We're going to do frame. We're going to say, can you build this? And we're going to submit it. All right, so that's doing its thing. Now we're going to go over to Windsurf. So Windsurf is, generally speaking, my tool of choice when it comes to building full-scale applications utilizing a coding assistant. There are many tools out there. I'm sure Cursor AI is also equally excellent. There's GitHub Copilot. There's a bunch of other ones. I can't name them all at the moment, but Windsurf just so far has been really fantastic for me. So I've set up a quick test project here, but fundamentally, this is what Windsurf's interface looks like. It's really more like a traditional coding interface, which I personally like and find that it's a lot easier to work with and more customizable. But let's give it the same exercise. So on the right side is where we input our stuff. So I'm going to do image. I'm going to find that in our downloads folder, and I'm going to give it the same instruction. Can you build this? And just press enter. All right, so that's generating. Let's go back to Versal. Okay, let's just see how it did. All right, so Versal did an interesting job with it. It looks like it's in like dark mode for some reason. I'm going to say, can you make it light mode, not dark? All right, just to like, so we can see it more properly. It's a bit hard to see at the moment. All right, so that's going to fix it. Let's go take a look at Loveable. Okay, so this is what Loveable came up with. Actually, not half bad. I mean, in fact, I think it's even responsive to some degree. It understood that there was a feed there. It understood that there's topics on the left side. It did not account for the navigation. It did have a right column. There's no search bar. There's no username at the top right corner, but not bad. Let's just go back over to Versal to see. Okay, also, Versal did a pretty good job. In fact, it added some things that Loveable did not include on the first pass. So still pretty good. Let's take a look at Windsurf. So Windsurf, I'm afraid we will need to wait a little bit longer. Let's see how it's getting closer. So let's just wait a second. Maybe it will be finished soon. And I see our server is not running, so let's get that running so we're ready when Windsurf is done. Oops. Oh, let's see. Did I do this wrong? Oh, it's run dev. Run dev. Okay. All right, so that's running. Let's just take a look over here. Oh, that's the wrong file here. Let's look here. Okay, so here we go. So it did an okay job with it with just the image. It didn't include all the details. So far in this round with just an image, it appears that Versal actually did surprisingly the best job. So good job on that one, Versal, but let's keep going. There are some more tricks to how this works. So we're going to start a new chat there. In Loveable, I'm going to show you how that workflow works in a second. But let's try, if you guys remember, we had that link we copied. I think it's still copied. Okay, good. So I'm just going to paste my Figma link in here. And I use the import from Figma button with Versal. Let's see how it does this time. And it did a nice job pulling in these frames and these colors. So, oh, and interesting. It says for best results, please select frames under 982 pixels in height. I think we should be, but let's just see. All right, so that's going to do its thing. Now, Loveable. This one is going to be a bit different. So in Figma, we're going to select our file. And one of the things I wanted to note as this file is set up very specifically, you can note that each of my layers has been set up with auto layout. So this layer has been at the very top level. This layer has been at the top level, but also in the sub levels, this is a auto layout, right? This is equally an auto layout, right? These are items in it. So everything is auto layout. That's very important. So we're going to select this frame. We're going to go to plugins, and there's a plugin called builder.io that integrates with Loveable. So I'm going to open builder.io's plugin. You can find this in the Figma plugins or communities folder. All right, so there's a bunch of options here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to press export code, and that's going to compile everything for me. I'm going to let that run because that will take a minute. And in the meantime, we are going to go back over here to Versal. Okay, so Versal, it did an okay job with this. I must say, I'm a bit underwhelmed. It did a good job with some of the stuff, but it's really not perfect. It's close, it's better, but not perfect, and it totally missed the navigation on the left side. I think it can do better. We can show some tricks, maybe how. So let's actually start a new chat. We're gonna have 3 different versions here, and I'm gonna show you a different way to work with that in just a moment. But I think where we need to go back is here to builder.io. Okay, so it finished compiling. So this one looks like a better version. We could select between the two, by the way, but this one looks the closest. The mobile looks a little wonky, but yeah, this isn't half bad. So I'm going to select it. And you see, you have 2 options here. One of them is open in Loveable. So since I have a Loveable account, which by the way, there's a free version and a paid version, but this plugin so far is free. You can just press open in Loveable, and that is going to start generating the code for Loveable, and it will eventually open a link for us once it's compiled and it's done. So we're going to let that continue to do its thing. While this is going on, let's see if we can. We do kind of need to wait actually for that to finish so that we can continue, because we're going to use this plugin, builder.io. So actually, let's take a look at that plugin real quick so that you guys can get a look at it more closely. So here's builder.io. They have a really exceptional tool to both create React components from Figma, but also you can even go to a website and use their plugin. So I actually have their plugin installed here. It's here, Figma, or HTML to Figma. You can like literally capture this whole page and save it as a JSON and import it into your Figma file. So if you ever need to like grab someone else's site and get their components to like use for something else, I do this all the time, and it's very successful. It's not perfect, but it's awesome. But it can go the other way too. It can go from essentially your Figma file to code, and that's what we're using today. And that's what Loveable is essentially using. All right, so it's almost done. Finalizing project should open up in just a second. And this is a pretty complex UI with like a lot of nested, auto layout. So, we can't expect it to be perfect, but I would love to get like 75% of the way there so that we really can just refine as opposed to like have to build, everything from scratch in CSS, but in terms of workflow, this is, definitely better than having to set up the pages yourself. And I think that, with the help of a design library, like we're going to be using Radix today, then I think you can really fly. So I'm going to just show you Radix while we're waiting here. We maybe have talked about it before, but I'll just say it again. I love this library. There's many other ones out there, by the way. Even Versal has its own library, which is excellent. That's the same tool that uses VO. So like theirs is called Geist Design. And yeah, you can take a look at their system here. There is another one that is really good called Tailwind, which actually Radix is built on top of. Yeah, I spelled that way wrong, but we'll get it. There's another one out there that's also built on Tailwind called Shad CN. There's so many. You should look them up. They're really great. They have pre-built components that you can very quickly stand up applications on. But let's go back. You remember that here it finished. It was finishing our code composition, and now we're ready to launch project. I won't click it because it's already open, but you could click that. And here is the application. Now, for some reason, it just says, welcome to your blank application. I want to figure out what happened because we have all this code. For some reason, is it not showing it? Oh, here we go. Oh, holy crap. Wow. Loveable just did a phenomenal job putting this together. I mean, this is pretty much as close as it's going to come in terms of nailing it one-to-one in terms of design. There are a lot of things we are going to need to improve here because there's no hover states or button states for these. There's no, like, these buttons don't work. Like, we're going to need to give it some instruction. You know, oh, this actually works. These buttons work, which is cool. But this I would say is 75% of the way there. So just for the sake of this, like, I am going to just give it some more instruction. Let's see. Can you make sure to use radix for the navigation buttons on the left side? Actually, you know what? We're gonna do something else. Let me see if I can see it here. I don't know why it's not loading here. But all right, we're gonna actually for now. Oh, here we go. I can press it here. I think I can press it here. I don't know why this isn't loading. I'm gonna just double check. Yeah. Before we do that, let's just see. I can't see the design in Loveable browser. That's a kind of a glitch. So maybe we'll alert the team at Loveable about this. It should just load up and show the application, and we could see it when we click the preview. But for some reason here, it's like not showing up properly. Maybe it just needs to like refresh. Maybe I need to refresh the page. I'm going to let it do its thing, and maybe this time. There we go. Okay. So I did need to instruct it for some reason. All right. But this is what I wanted to show you before I gave those instructions. Do you see here it says edit? I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to select this div. And what that does is that pulls up some very interesting things. We see margin, padding, background, border radius. I mean, there's a lot of options here. This is awesome. Like, what happens when I change some of this stuff? Okay. I'm selecting it really. I wanted to see if I could dive down a little bit deeper. Will it give me options? No, I wanted to see if this was controlled by like a Flexbox, where it is changing the margin here for the whole box. But anyways, I'm going to just set these back to 0 for now. And you can change this stuff. I think actually, like, for example, if I change this to, yeah, so that's cool. So you could change it in here, but you don't need to do any of that. In fact, I'm going to discard that. Oh, I don't know why I did that. That's also a little buggy. I'm going to press edit again. I want that color to just be the, yeah, can I set transparent? It's a bit odd. Okay. Maybe what I'll have to do here is I'm going to go back to Figma to just get the original color. Should be here. Okay. And then I'll set the color manually. Is there a way? Oh, custom. Okay. Oh, I don't know why this is giving me so much trouble. Is that going to change? You know what? I think I'm going to have to restore this version because I don't know why that won't change back. It's very odd. Let me just refresh the page. Maybe that's the issue. No, still the issue. I'm going to restore to the original one. Yeah, definitely a bug, but okay. So now that that's done here, let's see if we can do this edit mode one more time. So I'm going to press edit. I'm going to select in this div, and I'm going to say, can you make sure to use radix for the navigation buttons on the left side? Turn them into button icons. So this is a pretty cool feature. And I really think that this dynamic is something that we're going to see a lot more of, maybe even through Figma in the future, um, where you can go directly from design to code. And once in code, you can select things and instruct it to change it and add uh, interaction to it, which I think is just brilliant. So look, we've already started to add it here. I'm going to just discard that. I don't want to be in that mode anymore. It made the change. And now look at that. As we hover over it, those are now interactive components. Let's do the same thing over here just to kind of prove a point. Um, so for some reason, this whole section did not, yeah, I can't select it. So that's a little bit odd. I might need to be just selective about, or tell it like, can you make sure the communities and topics container uses radix and is part of the grid system? Because right now it's like outside the grid system, it seems like. I don't know why I can't click it. So I'm going to just instruct it more broadly as opposed to using the edit function. But maybe in the once it's set it up in the grid system, we'll be able to use it better in the grid system. Sorry, in the using the edit function. So you can see Loveable is like a pretty powerful tool. They're definitely working on some cool stuff. While that's making its edits, let's head back to Versal. So, all right, I'm going to get rid of these libraries. You should definitely read up on those libraries too and like learn what components are available. That will really help you do your job better with this. Oh, and by the way, maybe before we switch to Versal, it looks like this is done now. It did do a good job of adding it. It also appears to be part of a grid-like system when I change the width of the page. And then at least these can be selectable. So we could give more instruction to improve all of this, but it's getting pretty damn close. Now, to get this over the finish line, it will either require a lot more prompting and explaining to it exactly what you want, um, and maybe even adding some imagery or even breaking down these components further. But this is getting pretty close. I am going to show you like maybe how. So one thing I would do is I would go back to your tool here and I would select this layer. And then if you see here, it says copy to builder, you can press copy to builder. And we're going to do this again later with Windsurf. So now it's copied. I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to say, I actually want you to build it like this. And I'm going to just paste all that code that I just had copied from there in. And I think it should do a pretty good job. I probably should have told it to use radix too, but I think hopefully it will remember that we're using radix and it will apply based on that. All right. So that will hopefully finish up soon. And okay, yeah, it seems to have already done it. We won't switch tasks too quickly. Okay, it's almost done. All right, that seems to be taking a little bit of time. So let's switch over to Versal. Um, where did we leave off? So what we needed to do with Versal was, I believe, let's just check our projects. Or sorry, this was our most recent one when we tried to import with Figma. We are going to try it another way. So instead of doing it through that, why don't we do it like we just did? We're going to select the frame here. We're going to press copy to builder. and we're just gonna select the whole thing. So instead of using their import, we're gonna just try builder's import. So now that it's copied, I'm gonna go back to Versal and say, can you build this? And I'm gonna paste that whole snippet in. And now we're gonna see how it does and compare it to these other ones that it did before. So it's possible Builder.io just does a better job parsing that information. All right, so that's building. This is, I think, an older Loveable project. Let's go back to this one. Okay, now we're in business, guys. So look at that. It's responsive. It's got the system here. You can't select it just yet, but you can if you hover. There is a hover state happening here, so I can tell these are components. It would be nice if this was a one of those what are they called? Accordion menus. Sorry. It would be nice if this was a button. Again, I would just go in here and now like select these things and say like, can you make these selectable and turn white when selected? And you can even, as you can see here, change the padding of this. I would like to be able to select these and change the gap. Oh, that's just the size of those. Yeah, I can't change the gap, which is annoying. Because I would like to control this flex box that's kind of holding it. But yeah, I think eventually those controls will get better. Looks like they use Tailwind, by the way, and you could put some custom Tailwind classes here. Anyways, I'm going to press save. And I'm going to instruct it to, can you make these selectable and turn white when selected? Just going back to Versal, let's see how it did. Okay, so even with that technique, it did a good job with the left side here of like having that as a container, but the rest of it was really not even close to as good as this. So if I'm comparing Versal one-to-one with Loveable right now, Loveable is winning for sure. Loveable did a great job with this. So you could see how you could keep working with Loveable to refine this. Let's just see. I'm going to get out of edit mode. This is almost done. While that it's going on, I want to do that same exercise with Windsurf to see how it does. So I've copied that. I'm going to go to Windsurf, and I'm going to say, can you build... Oh, wait, I actually, you know what? Because it built something before. Did we try this before? I thought we had added this. Let me just check that for a second. I'm losing track here. Yeah, we did build this. And for some reason, I'm not seeing the code here, but maybe it's here in source. Ah, it's here in source. My bad. Okay. So what I actually want to do is I'm going to just revert this change because we saw what it looked like before. It's pretty good. Like just to look at it one last time before we get rid of it. Pretty good, but not great. I'm going to just revert that and I'm going to give it some different instructions this time. And I want to just paste that code in. We're going to just try it that way with Windsurf, just to like give it the minimum parameters. And then I'm just scrolling to the bottom here so I could see what it's doing. And then I'm going to try it one other way if it's not super accurate. So it's asked me to install some stuff. So I will install that. Okay, so it's asking because it's trying to use some sort of special package here. So I'm going to go to Cascade, which is like their automatic terminal here. They're like running terminal commands here. And then I can see it here in Cascade. And then it asks me, do you want to install the package? I'm just going to say, yeah, like seems like it's trying to build a React app. I mean, we already kind of have one, but maybe it has some sort of template it wants to try to use. for social post UI, which I'm not sure what that is, but maybe they're making that up. Yeah, it looks like they're making my own up. My bad. All right, so that is like installing whatever it's installing. And here, like, this could be a chance where it's like you need to interrupt and be like, I don't want you to use that. Like, just like build it using radix or something else. All right. So it looks like it did what it was going to do. We're going to just check if our server's running anywhere. Uh, it appears that it is already running in this terminal instead of like running dev again. Oh, okay. Hold on. It looks like we need to install some more things. Yeah, and I know this part can be a little bit more to get over because you may not be as comfortable with coding. But I do encourage you to like really start to learn some of this stuff because while Loveable and these other tools are pretty good, I don't think they can truly build as full scale applications as Windsurf just because I don't know. Windsurf just feels a little further along, and also you can really get into the code and fix things. It'll be much harder with a tool like Loveable. Um, but Loveable for front end stuff, excellent. And you could probably take the code that you get from there and try to apply it in a tool like Windsurf or like Cursor AI or something like that. All right, so that's going to build its stuff. We are going to go back. Loveable was doing a thing. Oh yeah, cool. All right, so these can be selected now. Still needs refinement. I would give it more instruction, but the idea is there. We're getting very close. All right, let's see how Windsurf does. Okay, almost there. Oh. All right, let's just see if we can see any stuff going on here. If anything's changed. Not yet. Still being applied. All right, let's just see if there's anything else here that we might want to consider. Oh, one thing I did want to show you while we're waiting is in Vercel. So Vercel has a similar idea as Loveable. So for creating front-end UIs, like Vercel is really, really good, by the way. I really do like it. And they have this tool up here in the top right called Select. So you can press that and you can select any element you want. And you can literally click it and tell it in line what you want. Can you turn this into an accordion with topics under it? And yeah, it will basically do that here on the left side. It's going to be thinking, and then it will apply the change in here. So I do really like that. I think that's super awesome. Um, and I think there's a way, yeah, you can download all the code here in the top right corner in this code view, and then there's preview view. So you can switch between these, and then there's a console view too. Yeah, so there's the code, and there's the tool, and then look at that. We got some stuff here, which is awesome. Definitely like see how powerful this tool could be, and I do think it's excellent. And I do see here, look, now it supports Tailwind configs and global CSS. So they're always innovating. I love actually Vercel as a company. They build a server-side language called Next.js, and now have built an entire company on that where you can very easily deploy applications. It's a pretty full service suite. And so if you are going to pay for something, honestly, it's not bad. And I do believe this might be capable of doing full scale applications. The problem is again, you're like pretty stuck in this code editor. Eventually, I think you would, if you need to do more advanced stuff, you're going to need to move out of this into a tool like Windsurf. So that's why I kind of just like starting in Windsurf. Let's just see, go back to Windsurf and see how we did. So, all right. So I'm going to do this. I'm probably going to have to stop this server because then we'll have duplicate servers running. But here in this cascade here, I didn't want to show you this part because like you make it get confused. Cascade is like the auto running of the server or the terminal rather. And so I knew that when I typed in npm start, it was going to try to run my application. And so when it does that, it usually runs in one of the cascades here. And I see that it is in fact running now on localhost 3000, which is interesting. It seems to have changed my server from another one to this one. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but maybe we might need to revert our changes and see. Browser. Okay, so here we are. Not bad. I mean, it did nail some stuff here, like responsiveness, some of the UI. It didn't make these clickable or anything. Search does work in terms of like typing, and the posts look pretty good. But this is not half bad. We've got like, yeah, I mean, honestly, it like style wise, like pretty much nailed it. I'm really pleased with that. But it missed a ton of layout stuff, so I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna do a few things. You're missing a bunch of the layout and components. Have a look. And I'm going to actually add an image this time. And I'm going to bring in, yeah, actually, I want to make sure I'm seeing that the image has some extra stuff here. I'm going to make sure that we clip content because I don't want that extra stuff in there. So I'm going to export that again. Yeah, let me just replace that. And all right, just going to add that in, and I'm going to press enter here. So hopefully it will like take a look at that and build upon what it's already created. But so far, when we use builder.io with Windsurf, it produces a pretty reasonable result. And I'm very pleased with it so far. And I know that after this, I kind of have like a lot of optionality to be able to continue building this app full scale. And I won't have to go from basically copying and pasting code from one application into another application, which is kind of an annoying way of doing things. And I may need to prompt this just a few times to get it to do it a little bit better. I'm not sure if it's going to nail the structure. It'll definitely, get the style right. But the actual image to code in general isn't like a perfect science. It's still being improved upon. But I do think when you add the layer of exporting actual code that is kind of like generated from Figma, that is where you kind of like combine those two methodologies, and that's kind of where the sweet spot so far is. As the technology improves, it will just, yeah, it's going to get exponentially better. Okay, it's almost done. Let's just take a look. I think we were working on, yeah, so this is Loveable so far. Excellent. Just a recap. This is, I think I'm going to have to refresh the page here. Something happened. Okay, this is what Verso looks like. Still pretty good. Not as good as Loveable, but pretty good. And oh yeah, here's our Loveable app. And then let's just go back to Windsurf. That's still working. So far, this is what we got with Windsurf. Yeah. It is taking a little bit of time, really thinking through this one. While we're waiting, though, what's cool is you can go, component by component here, copy to builder, right? And then I would paste those in. So anytime you have a particular feature that you are trying to build, it's better to then like first try to give the base structure, and you can give it really clear instructions like I want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4 column layout, right? And then feed it this, right? So that way it gets the structure, and then you can go component by component, be like, can you build this? And then I'll copy that and I'll paste it in, right? Same thing, and like you can give even very clear instructions like, can you use this particular font? Or, can you use this particular design library? That will really help a lot. I think if you set these also up as proper exports, like if you set this up as an SVG, oops, um, then builder.io does a better job of exporting them. Otherwise, sometimes they'll come through as images. So that's another trick. And builder.io has some best practices here that I think you might need to go to their website, but I know somewhere here it says like their best practices on setting up your design. There's also precise mode, which I tried but didn't have a ton of success with, so I just keep it on easy mode for now, if you're wondering. All right, let's check Windsurf. Something's going on with this. I'm going to just say keep going. Yeah, I'm just going to stop it and tell it to keep going. Sometimes it errors out. Sometimes you need to quit the application and come back in. It does auto save its progress though, so usually you can be safe that it's done its thing. But yeah, I'm not sure why it's struggling so much on this one. So we'll see. You also sometimes need to add a new conversation, and so that way it kind of starts fresh. Okay. I hope that it will start soon. Certainly spending a lot of time generating, that's for sure. All right. We might need to try it again. I'm going to go back to my original request here. Where was it? Oh, here it was. So I'm going to grab that. It's going to try again, it looks like. Yeah, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to just do this. You're mentioning a bunch of information. I'm going to add our frame. We're going to just give it a try again. Sometimes just starting fresh works better. And I know it's I hate to show you these negatives about Windsurf because I just love this tool so much. It's the tool I'm using to develop this entire application that we're building here with the community. But it's important to learn some of the kinks of it, and over time, this is going to improve significantly. I think it's one of the best tools out there. Again, Cursor AI is very similar to this one. I do strongly recommend taking a look at that one too. I'm not sure how they compare on cost. I've found that Windsurf is the most affordable. If you compare it with Replit, for example, which I think is very overpriced, and it's a good tool, but it's very overpriced. Um, and I think Cursor is more like aligned on price with this one. They are pretty exceptional, and they're built on top of VS Code, which is actually built by Microsoft. So like this whole interface is pretty much Microsoft's interface, and this coding assistant on the right side is really where the magic happens from Windsurf, or the name of the company is actually called Codium. Um, and they're not like a well-known company from before. They are a startup, but them and Cursor are just absolutely changing the game in terms of web development, which is tremendous. All right, so we're getting there. It did need to like seemingly do a lot of new things. Um, Hopefully it will finish soon. Well, while we are waiting for that, I'm going to show you a version. Well, I unfortunately I think we have to wait because I think the server needs to start from here. So I am going to wait. All right, it looks like it did its thing, uh, but our servers are not running. So let's just get the server running again. Oh, I think it's npm start. Let's see. Huh. None of the changes are made here. This is weird. I don't see any of the changes. I'm on host. Okay, I'm gonna just exit that other server. Just let it scan to see. It's see again. It's looking here where it might have made the changes, and okay, let's go there because I think it got confused and created a new server. Um, yeah, this is a bit funny. Why is like that was on 3000? Yeah, fuck. I think I'm gonna have to start this thing from scratch because it is very confused. Um, let's um, let's do that because I really want you to see how this can work. I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna press this, uh, and I'm just gonna build. I'm literally gonna just delete everything in this project and start from scratch so that it's just not confused. Not the best rep on Windsurf right now. So here's what we're gonna do. All servers are off. We're just gonna do a proper way here. So I'm gonna copy this. That will finish in a second. I'm gonna say, can you build this? We're gonna add the image. So this is the combo that I was talking about. And then we're gonna, now that that's copied to clipboard, I'm going to just feed that in. And we're going to let it kind of go to town on this. Cool. So it actually decided to use Next.js, which is, I think, advisable here. Good tool. We can also instruct it. Use Next.js, use Vite, use something else. If you learn about these development tools, you'll be able to instruct it better. I do see that it used an old version of Next.js, though. Like I know, oh, actually, it might look for the most recent one because there's a little arrow here. But yeah, I'll usually try to give it more instruction and be clear with it. All right, so that's going to take a minute. Now we gave it a lot of information this time, right? We gave it the style and like layout from the image. We gave it the style and layout from all of this code, right? There's a ton of it, all exported from from builder.io inside of Figma. Um, And we're hoping that with this information, we'll be actually able to do this. So let's see. Okay, let's install. Okay, we got everything up and running there. It looks like we're going to need to probably start the server. Yep, so we'll press accept. Great, so next is up and running on localhost. Let's go over here, refresh, see how it did. Okay, so it did not do as good a job with this as I was anticipating. So I'm going to say, can you make this, well, really look at the image here for content. So can you make this better? Really look at the image here for content. Sometimes it takes, sometimes it takes a few passes at this. But it did do a good job with style. So I think we're on the way. Some passes at this are going to be better than others. Also, builder.io, in here doesn't always generate the best code. Sometimes I think there's the other way where if you press export to code, it will give you a selection option. And I think there might be another way to copy that code. Let's just, while that's, we're trying to do the other stuff, let's see if we can multitask a bit. And again, I think the best way is also to just build these individually, but I am trying to get a base application up. So I'm hoping this will do a good job matching the layout at minimum. Usually Windsurf does a pretty good job, almost as good as Loveable. I do want to check Loveable, like, do they have the concept of like a proper code editor? No, basically just got to kick this out to GitHub if you want to truly interact with the code. You have to just end up doing everything in here, which isn't, in my opinion, ideal. Here we go. So yeah, like this did a better job with the layouts. This is probably closest. So if I click that, yeah, I think you can press view in code builder. And yeah, it actually shows you both mobile and desktop. And actually, like, this does a wonderful job with it. And then they are introducing their own AI features for this, but they're not ready yet. I think under develop, yeah, in order to actually export it all out from here, unfortunately, it looks like to generate the actual code, which is very cool. You can select between these different tools. You do have to pay, you have to upgrade. So it isn't possible right now to get it out of here. But I think maybe what happens when we share? Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. Or maybe there's another way. Let's see. No. And if I like select this stuff, Yeah, I don't think there's a way to get it out of here, which is okay. So that's fine. Let's just go back. Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to make this. This is just making a directory so that there are some images that it's going to utilize. It's going to probably make them and plug them in there. All right, let's get out of here. Oh, I do see that it's starting to pull together a better structure. In fact, much closer to what I was hoping for. All right, it's continuing to update those things. Okay, I can see our menu coming in here. I don't know why it's all on the left side like that, but yeah, okay. Now we're getting closer. I mean, it's confused about where the sidebar's position is, which we can give it more instruction later. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's starting to have some semblance here. Probably a lot more to be done. I have to say that I did this on my own previously, and it did a much better job with it. And it can be a bit hit or miss, and you do need to like play with it. It's not perfect. Like if I were to do this personally by coding it myself, I probably would move a little bit faster. Um, but I do think we're seeing the promise of where this can go, and I think Loveable probably is honestly the best tool I've seen so far for building front end interfaces, utilizing code and being able to kind of like edit in line. And it does the best job of kind of going from the code to the tool. Windsurf is honestly there. I think it didn't do a great job today, but also Versal, excellent tool. All of them do like certain things very very well. I think we're just going to see a lot of improvements. But Loveable, you guys win it for now. All right, guys, that's it for the tutorial today. Stay tuned. We're going to be spending a lot more time working on this. I've built actually a pretty impressive, full scale application now with all of this that I'm going to be revealing next week. So stay tuned. Thanks again for tuning in.